Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mostly Sci-Fi 2. I've been back after a long hiatus, and today I'm going to read to you. There is a fan fiction alien story, Alien vs. Predator story that I want to read to you guys. I'm going to read that chapter by chapter. I found it online. It's from a person called Xenoterrorist, and it's called Alien versus Predator Universe. That's the name of this story. So I'm going to start with the prologue, and then I'm just going to continue down. I think it's really nice that people are making these kinds of fan fictions, and if you find him, tell him that I'm currently reading his story. Okay, but before I read the story, I want to explain to you why I have not been available for why I have not been consistent for the last 8 or 9 months. And the reason that is because I was in China. Okay, so I was in China. Yeah, so the reason that is because of what was happening in Shanghai. I was living in Shanghai, and it was horrible. Okay, and so I could not focus on his channel. I could not focus on any of my YouTube channels. And then I stopped reading. So what's going to be happening with Alien Genocide is maybe the voices are going to be changing, because I was doing different voices for different characters, but it's just too much. So, and I haven't been back in a while. So you might notice a difference in some of the voices, but I'm going to continue that, and I'm going to finish it, and chapter 19 should be out in a few days. But I'm also going to do this one, Xenoterrorist's Alien versus Predator Universe. It's kind of a short one. I don't know how long it is. I think it's about seven chapters, but I don't know how long it's going to take me to read it. Okay, so it's fan fiction. I want to pay him some props and respect. And the other stuff, I want to finish the Hellraiser, because I was doing Hellraiser and it was going pretty good. But like I said, the COVID, and plus I had children, and I got 2 children. They were in my apartment, like they're in our apartment, and it's just, you can't do anything with children in the house. They're fairly young. They argue, and I had a maid who was very loud, who didn't take my children out, so I couldn't do anything. So it was a lot of factors. Now, I have moved out of China. I left China, so I was in China for about 15 to 20 years. And because of COVID, I decided to take my family and move. Okay, this place is a lot quieter because my kids are out and they got activities. I'm in America now. I'm in Georgia, and so now I can actually do these stories and read without any interruption. So I'm just gonna keep on going and to see until it stops or something impedes me. I know I've lost a lot of subscribers, probably because I haven't been online for 3 months, but hopefully I can get them back if I keep reading. So, with that being said, I would like to introduce this story here, and it is by Xenoterrorist. He wrote this or posted it in July 24th, 2021, and it's called Alien versus Predator Universe. And so I'm going to read you what he said, and then I'm going to read the prologue, and then after that, I'm going to continue. I'm going to upload this, and then after that, I'm going to continue with Alien Genocide, because I'm on chapter 19 now. And then in a few days, I shall upload that so you can have a continuation. Again, I'm sorry about all of these things that are happening. It was kind of out of my control. So I'm back, and I'm back to stay. Mostly sci-fi. Alien versus Predator Universe by Xenoterrorist. His disclaimer. I don't own Alien, Predator, nor Alien vs. Predator, as they are the properties of 20th Century Fox, Dark Horse Comics, Titan Books, Marvel Comics, and Disney Corporation. This fan fiction will not include the following movies in its canon: Alien 3, Alien Resurrection, Alien vs. Predator 2004, its 2007 sequel Alien vs. Predator Requiem, nor Shane Black's The Predator 2018. Creative feedback is appreciative. Prologue. November 17th, 2193. Earth, New York. Deep within the resin-encapsulated university, a young woman of mixed American and Japanese descent was running through the metal corridors when she spotted a locker. She opened the locker and quickly stuffed herself inside as she slowly closed the locker behind herself. Sweat ran down from her short, spiky raven hair down her light tan face as she waited for the beast that was following her. Through the locker vents, she saw a massive cigar-shaped eyeless head come into her view. Its perpetual drooling grin gave her shivers down her spine as the rest of it came into view. Humanoid and biomechanical in nature, with 4 tubes and a lone spike jutting out of its back. When the beast walked by, she thought it hadn't noticed her. The young woman sighed in relief. Then the lone drone impaled the locker with its tail. She felt pain coursing through her collar. She was in too much shock to notice she was bleeding. The creature moved back around to the locker. The beast peeled back its thin lips, baring its fangs at the locker, before proceeding to tear open the locker door from its hinges. She tried to scream, but not a sound could escape from her throat. She realized too late that she was paralyzed by the xenomorph's stinger as it reached in to collect her. The drone drooled all over the floor as it carefully pulled the paralyzed woman from the locker. She tried desperately to scream, but all she was doing was making choking sounds. The xenomorph drools on her wounded collar. Its saliva cauterizes the wound. The xenomorph hoists the girl up by her ribs before throwing her over its shoulder and returning to the hive. Her dark eyes were the only thing she could move at the moment, but the only thing she could see was the ceiling. Then came the second phase of the xenomorph's venom. She started to lose consciousness as her eyes grew heavy. She struggled to remain alert, but her eyes closed shut as her mind went blank. She slowly awoke, but saw nothing but darkness. No light was able to penetrate through the resin-encrusted walls. As vision was rendered useless, she heard breathing from the other college students, followed by weak howls that were immediately silenced. A new sign caught her attention. It was close. Really close. It sounded like something had peeled open, followed by some gurgling noises. Her heart pounded violently in her chest. She didn't know what it was, but she knew it was something bad. She struggled to move. She was then able to move her fingers and toes. Her excitement was short-lived when she slowly felt the sticky resin, realizing she was glued to something as the resin covered her arms, legs, chest, and head. The gurgling noise came back, but was quickly replaced by creepy, crawly noises. Something is moving in front of her. Something bad. "Come on, Valerie. Move," she muttered to herself. A sharp, inhuman scream echoed from within a chamber as it cut Valerie's mutters short. Valerie felt something wet slam into her face. Tiny legs grip onto the sides of her head, like a hand pinning her further into the resin. A smooth tail rapidly wrapped its way around her throat, forcing her to gasp for air as the creature inserted itself down her throat. A tear rolled down her face as the creature pumped its thick, cold essence into her. Soon she fell back into an unconscious state. Nightmares fill her dreams. Suffocation and violent deaths haunt her as she sleeps. Images of a queen xenomorph become a recurring element in her dreams, usually taking the form of loved ones before reverting back into xenomorphs. Gunfire echoed across the dark room. Soon came light before darkness, then light again. The sounds of xenomorphs squealing as they fall to the ground, ripped to shreds by gunfire. A berserker team checked on the state of the cocooned college students. Most of them had a hole burrowed out from their chests, except for one. The Marines spotted Valerie, who was barely clinging to life. The berserker exosuit clumsily stomps its way towards the girl. It uses its blowtorch to sever the hardened resin from the girl's body. A quick bioscan detects a xenomorph embryo, not only developing inside her chest, but it's almost ready to hatch. The berserker team quickly radio in the situation. "Sir, she is too far gone. The thing's about to hatch." "You have your orders, Lieutenant. Proceed with the extraction. We have issued you a life pod in case of situations like this. Use it!" They quickly radio in for the emergency cryopod, ensuring she would survive the trip back to Gateway Station. In high orbit above Earth, Gateway Station. The UA dropship rushed into the hangar bay. The Marines escorted the life pod to the med bay. The automotive surgeon quickly removed the woman from the life pod into the auto dock. The robot doctor moved its multiple arms into position, injecting her full of painkillers and other drugs to pacify the parasite. The chest burster grew agitated as the drugs entered its system. Refusing to submit to the drugs, the chest burster began to smash into Valerie's ribs before the drugs kicked in to temporarily pacify the parasite. "I'll prepare for the surgery," the doctor announces.
"She's too far gone. The parasite will awaken,"
the nurse protested. "That is not what we are extracting. Prepare the brain case. It's the only way to save what's left of his daughter," the doctor ordered the nurse. The auto doctors quickly began making precise incisions into Valerie's skull as her scalp was quickly removed and her brain was delicately removed from her head into the brain case, as well as some of her blood. The chest burster, sensing its host's vitals were in flux, quickly began to wake up from his drug-induced coma. Once the brain case was secured and retrieved from the room was then sterilized before being set ablaze.
"How's the patient?"
the nurse asked. The doctor does a quick read of the vital scans. "She is doing perfect. We will place her in cryohibernation until we manufacture her a new body. Until then, it's a few months of sleep." The brain case is then placed in cryohibernation.
"Hopefully the Earth will be reclaimed by then,"
the nurse added. "Who needs that old planet? We have plenty of worlds in reserves," the doctor smirked. Valerie felt weird. She couldn't talk. couldn't see, couldn't feel anything, but she knew she was alive somehow. Her blood was being artificially circulated inside the brain case, as well as fluids being pumped into her bloodstream to supply her with food and water. Months went by. As the nightmares plagued her dreams, she had no mouth and wanted to scream. Her father purchased a prosthetic body for her since cloning was illegal in the core systems. The synthetic body was custom tailored to support a human brain configuration and was designed in the likeness of Valerie Armstrong, right down to her spiky raven hair and tanned skin. Once completed, the body was sent to Alexandria Colony, along with her brain. The autodoc carefully inserts Valerie's brain into her new synthetic body. After the head closes up and the synthetic skin is reapplied for a perfect seal. A quick diagnostic test to her systems to make sure everything is working before setting her systems to live mode. Valerie slowly awakes in a room resembling her room back on Earth. She slowly stands on her feet, but finds moving difficult. She trips and falls, cutting her hand on a broken light bulb. To her horror, she bleeds white. Memories flood into her mind of the hive and the nightmares. She briefly hallucinates a xenomorph on the ceiling, smiling at her before curling up in the fetal position. Her dad barges into the room to comfort her. "They're gone, sweetie. They're gone." She hesitates to look back at the ceiling, only to see the xenomorph has disappeared. So this is the end of the prologue. There's a bunch of chapters. If you like this story and you want me to continue to read it, I will. Once again, this is by Zeno Taris. And we will continue if you want me to continue. So this is mostly sci-fi. Mostly.